Welcome to The Eye Opener. I'm your host, Michael Lewis. A school in Manhattan has gone full woke and is encouraging students to stop using the terms mom, dad, and parents. Will this turn into a trend happening in more schools across the country? So far, 7 women have publicly accused Cuomo for sexual harassment. How many more women are there? And how long can he hold on to his position before being forced out? Nancy Pelosi reappointed Eric Swalwell to the Intelligence Committee, blatantly disregarding his compromising affair with the CCP spy Fang Fang. A call that shook the world, an insider look into how President Trump's call with Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen changed everything. Okay, my friends, let us take a closer look together. A 7th woman came out to publicly accuse New York Governor Andrew Cuomo of sexual harassment. On March 12th, former Albany State House reporter Jessica Bakeman wrote a first-person piece for the New York Magazine. She described a 2014 holiday party in which the governor gripped her tightly as they posed for a picture. She wrote, "I knew it would be far easier to smile for the brief moment it takes to snap a picture than to challenge one of the most powerful men in the country." The allegation will be investigated by New York Attorney General Letitia James, while the State Assembly on Thursday approved a probe into potential impeachment. With the 6th woman coming forward and claiming she was inappropriately touched by Cuomo at his mansion, more than 55 New York Democrat lawmakers called for him to step down amid the nursing home scandal and sexual harassment allegations. Last Friday, one of Cuomo's accusers, Lindsey Boylan, announced that she would unleash a political action committee against both Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, since they had not yet called for Cuomo to resign. Schumer and Gillibrand quickly acted on Friday afternoon in a joint statement saying, "Due to the multiple, credible sexual harassment and misconduct allegations, it is clear that Governor Cuomo has lost the confidence of his governing partners and the people of New York. Governor Cuomo should resign." Cuomo repeatedly denied the allegations and insisted he would not resign. However, his lawyer, Kamiki Gibson, Press Secretary Caitlin Gerard, and Interim Policy Advisor Aaron Hammond have all left their positions. Cuomo's staff began to rebel after he refused for the 2nd time to resign. According to an insider who's close to some staffers, most people aren't even coming into work, and the offices at the Capitol are empty. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio predicted on Sunday that Andrew Cuomo would be impeached, saying that the, quote, "imperial governor hinders the state from saving more lives." De Blasio said, "I think an impeachment proceeding will begin, and I think he will be impeached, and perhaps right before that he'll decide to resign. That's probably the most likely outcome right now, but I gotta tell you something. He should resign right now because he's holding up our efforts to fight COVID. He's literally in the way of us saving lives right now." Cuomo's father, Mario Cuomo, was governor of New York for 11 years. His ex-wife, Carrie Kennedy, is the daughter of Robert F. Kennedy, and his brother, Chris Cuomo, is a CNN host. But the then New York king, with watertight political status, is now abandoned by everyone, including his own allies. The Alabama Republican Party gave former President Trump a framed resolution on Saturday. It declares Trump to be one of the greatest and most effective presidents in the history of the United States. Trump received the resolution Saturday evening at a reception in Mar-a-Lago, Florida. The Alabama GOP also sent a copy of the resolution to the Republican Executive Committee of each state and to every Republican of Alabama's congressional delegation. The resolution honors a number of President Trump's achievements, including the largest tax cuts and reforms in American history, withdrawal of the Paris Climate Agreement, standing up to China, withdrawal from the job and trade killing Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement, and NAFTA, and many more. It also says President Trump accomplished more in 48 months than Joe Biden did in 48 years as a senator and vice president. His resolution is offered to him in deepest appreciation for his dedication and sacrifice to our country in order to make America great again. The resolution also mentions Operation Warp Speed, which was the Trump administration's plan to coordinate federal and private resources to accelerate the development, manufacturing, and distribution of COVID-19 vaccines. Now, Biden is reaping the benefits of what President Trump has sowed. In his first primetime speech after signing the $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill, Biden declared his ambitious vaccination plan, but he neglected the fact that his administration inherited the Operation Warp Speed to meet Biden's target of 100 million doses in 100 days. Biden didn't acknowledge the former president's effort in making vaccines in record speed. His speech wasn't very generous for a leader who constantly vows for unity. RNC Research tweeted, "The facts. Operation Warp Speed developed a vaccine in record time and was meeting Biden's distribution goal before he took office." Meanwhile, Biden spent months during the campaign sowing doubt about the efficacy of vaccines being developed. It's not just Republicans who are correcting Biden. A member from Biden's team wants to thank Trump too. Andy Slavitt, senior advisor to the White House COVID team, credited the former president in a Fox interview last Thursday. He said, "We're grateful for the work that came before us and are doing the best we can to continue it and accelerate it. I would absolutely tip my hat. The Trump administration made sure that we got it in a record time, a vaccine up and out. That's a great thing, and it's something we should all be excited about." March numbers show primetime cable news continues to suffer from Trump not being in the White House. Variety intelligence platform published weekday ratings numbers from March 1st to March 5th. Among Fox News, CNN, and MSNBC, CNN crashed the most in its viewerships. Compared to the average audience a quarter ago, the top 3 CNN primetime show, CNN Tonight with Don Lemon, Anderson Cooper 360, and Cuomo Primetime, lost 28 to 33% audience. Top 3 MSNBC primetime shows lost 9% to 18%, and top 3 Fox News shows lost 5% to 12%. It looks like CNN and MSNBC can't make enough out of the new president. Their audience must want Trump back, and so do they. If you want to keep hearing real news that the mainstream media will not tell you about, please consider donating to the show. Our donor box link is in the description. Also, to get this information out to as many people as possible, please like and share this video. I also want to thank all of you who supported us every day. It's our pleasure to be able to deliver to you news that matters. Okay, my friends, let's get back to the show. The progressive left have not stopped their chase on the former president's allies. Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani is a longtime Trump supporter and his former personal attorney. He led Trump's legal defense team in challenging the 2020 election in multiple states, such as Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Georgia, among others. He also spoke at the January 6th rally in support of President Trump, questioning election integrity. For all these reasons, the progressive left have been holding him responsible for the Capitol breach, doing all sorts of things to try to bring him down, including calling St. John Fisher College to revoke his honorary degree. St. John's Fisher College is a private liberal arts college in Rochester, New York. In 2015, the school bestowed an honorary PhD to Giuliani in recognition of his role in the recovery of New York City after 9/11. In response to the call of revoking this distinction, the College Board of Trustees voted to keep the honor. The board released a statement on March 12 saying, "A decision either to grant an honorary degree or rescind an honorary degree requires a 2/3 majority of the entire board, which was not achieved. No further action will be taken." In January, another school, Middlebury College of Vermont, took back Giuliani's honorary degree granted in 2005. Middlebury's president, Lawrence Patton, issued a statement that claimed Giuliani's speech on January 6 betrayed their values, so the school's leadership revoked his degree. The past presidential election is like a mirror reflecting everyone, every group, and every institution's true face. Giuliani has earned himself the honor in defending the former president. For a man like Rudy and for people who support him, they don't care whether or not he has an honorary degree. But a school's reputation does matter. These colleges ought to be extra mindful in issuing or rescinding their honor to a well-known man. Speaking of a school's reputation, this NY school is challenging America's most basic core values. A private K-12 school in Manhattan is encouraging its students to stop using the terms mom, dad, and parents in an effort to make the campus a more, quote, welcoming and inclusive space. In a 12-page inclusive language guide, the Grace Church School recommends that students, staff, and parents, quote, remove harmful assumptions from the way they interact. For example, grown-ups, folks, family, or guardians are considered better alternatives to mom, dad, and parents because the latter contain assumptions about what a typical family looks like. The school said that traditional family is an outdated term. We actively try to undo notions of a typical or normal family structure because, quote, each family is unique. When it comes to gender, the language guide recommends teachers not to address their students as boys and girls, guys, ladies, and gentlemen, but use gender-neutral terms like people, folks, friends, readers, or even mathematicians. Adults are encouraged to take gender out of text where it's unnecessary when reading books to children. For example, they can say child, person, or character instead of the boy or girl on the page. The private school also asked staff and students to avoid making assumptions about people in conversations that touches on religion. Wishing someone happy holidays is deemed not religiously neutral enough, according to the guide, and it is better replaced with have a great break. Liz Joy, a New York Republican running to represent the state's 20th congressional district, tweeted, "We come into this world male or female. It's good to have mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, auntie, uncle. This school is further destroying the nuclear family." George P. Davison, the head of the Grace Church School, wrote in a statement, "We have taught our students to use language thoughtfully from day one," and said that he didn't actually ban any word and was meant to promote politeness, dignity, and respect. Interesting enough, the school's central mission on its website says, "To restore all people within reach to unity with God and each other through Jesus Christ." God created men and women. How could removing the role of mom and dad bring students closer to God? Nancy Pelosi on Friday reappointed Eric Swalwell to the Intelligence Committee. But Swalwell should be the last person for consideration, as every American knows, well, I hope everybody already knows, Swalwell had an affair with CCP spy Fang Fang, which has put him in a compromised position. It's possible that Swalwell could disclose our nation's top secrets to our enemies, the Chinese Communist Party. In response to the reappointment, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy tweeted, "Based on the briefing Pelosi and I received together, Swalwell should not be on the panel in charge of guarding our nation's secrets. Next week, I will offer a resolution to remove him from the Intel Committee." Put away the Fang Fang scandal. Swalwell served as one of the impeachment managers during the House trial of President Trump. That was not his first involvement in impeaching Trump. Swalwell was a huge proponent of the Russia collusion hoax, but after a lengthy, expensive, and unnecessary investigation, Special Counsel Robert Mueller concluded in March of 2019 that they did not find any evidence of anybody colluded with Russia in the 2016 presidential election. But listen to what Swalwell said 2 months before the Mueller report in January 2019.
You're a member of the Judiciary. Do you believe the president right now has been an agent of the Russians?
Yes, I think there's more evidence than he is. Yes, and I think all the arrows point in that direction, and I haven't seen a single piece of evidence that he's not.
I haven't seen a single piece of evidence that is not. Well, where's the evidence, Swalwell? The Federal Communications Commission, FCC, concluded that 5 Chinese telecommunication companies pose a risk to U.S. national security. They are Huawei, ZTE, Hytera Communications, Hangzhou Hikvision Digital Technology, and Dahao Technology. The designations of these companies were made in accordance with the Secure Networks Act, which became law in March 2020. This is a significant move in the Biden administration after the Trump administration's all-out effort to limit Chinese tech companies' reach in the United States and abroad. The Justice Department unveiled an indictment on 2019 charges against Huawei. The indictment sues the company for racketeering and conspiracy to steal trade secrets and outlines new claims about Huawei's deceptive efforts to evade U.S., European Union, and United Nations sanctions when doing business in North Korea and Iran. Trump has sought to limit Huawei's global reach, especially in the area of 5G, pushing its Five Eyes partners, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom, to reject Huawei's technology in their communications networks. In May 2019, Huawei was added to the entity list. In May 2020, the Bureau of Industry and Security banned Huawei from getting semiconductors made in the US. In August 2020, they announced even broader restrictions. The FCC banned the two Chinese Communist Party's linked companies, Huawei and ZTE, last summer for posing national security threats. Annual government subsidies of $8.3 billion can no longer be used to purchase, maintain, or otherwise support any equipment or services produced or provided by Huawei or ZTE. Huawei filed an appeal with the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit last month in an effort to push back against the FCC designation. While addressing a House Foreign Affairs Committee hearing last Wednesday, Secretary of State Antony Blinken referred to Taiwan as a country that can contribute to the world, not just its own people.
Taiwan is a strong democracy, a very strong technological power, and a country that can contribute to the world, not just its own people. Right. COVID is a very good example of it.
For a long time, U.S. officials had been avoiding describing Taiwan as a country, for it would be a direct offense to the Chinese Communist Party. Taiwanese newspaper hoped Blinken's use of the word country was the beginning of a new stage in Taiwan-U.S. relations. However, the official House transcript of his remarks quote Blinken somewhat differently, which reads, "Taiwan is a strong democracy, a very strong technological power in a country that can contribute to the world, not just its own people." We hope Blinken didn't mean that Taiwan is part of China. Today, Blinken and Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin will begin a 4-day visit to Japan and South Korea. On Thursday, March 18th, they will return to the U.S. to meet with CCP diplomats Yang Jiechi and Wang Yi in Anchorage, Alaska. The primary purpose of the Japan-Korea trip is to strengthen their allegiances with the United States. Challenges of the Chinese Communist Party and North Korea will be the focus of their meetings. Compared to the Trump administration, we have to say that Biden's administration is much weaker in its actions against the CCP. After Trump was elected in 2016, he spoke directly to Taiwan's president Tsai Ing-wen, a move that irritated Beijing. In the call, Trump talked about the close economic, political, and security ties between Taiwan and the United States. He also congratulated President Tsai on becoming president in 2016. In response to the call, CCP Foreign Minister Wang Yi warned, quote, "The one China policy is the cornerstone of the healthy development of China-U.S. relations, and we hope this political foundation will not be interfered with or damaged." Last week, Josh Rogin, columnist for The Washington Post, published his new book, Chaos Under Heaven: Trump, Xi, and the Battle for the 21st Century. In his book, Rogin reveals some inside stories of the Trump-Tsai call in 2016. On December 2nd, 2016, Trump accepted the congratulatory call from President Tsai Ing-wen, breaking the 40-year-old diplomatic practice between U.S. and China. Trump pushed Beijing's red button for speaking with Taiwan. CCP diplomat Yang Jiechi expressed serious concerns regarding the phone call on December 9th. Some reports say Yang was complaining in Jared Kushner's office. The book discussed what had led to the Trump-Tsai call. The most popular theory is from the New York Times. Former Kansas Senator Bob Dole pushed Trump to take the call from Tsai. Another theory says it was former Pentagon official Randall Shriver who facilitated the rare call. With the push from Shriver, Trump's transition team added Taiwan to Trump's call list. No one at the time objected to the list, so Trump spoke to all the countries as planned, including Taiwan. Rogin said the Trump-Tsai call was an accident. On the next day, Trump explained on Twitter, saying it was not him who made the call to Tsai, it was Tsai who called him first. But no matter who made the call, it broke the decades-long diplomatic taboo for U.S. presidents. Former White House Chief Strategist Steve Bannon has a somewhat different understanding. He said Trump wasn't surprised by Beijing's reaction because in the briefing before taking the call, both Bannon and Kushner warned him that doing so would irritate Beijing, and Trump took the call anyway. According to Bannon, Trump said that he would definitely take the call from Tsai. The book also talked about the Trump-Xi call on February 9, 2017. That call was arranged by Trump's advisors to improve the relationship between the two sides. Later in 2017, Trump visited Beijing and was warmly received. However, the Chinese Communist Party lied to the Trump administration on multiple fronts, including trades, technology, securities, and unforgettably, the virus. The communist regime only proved to be a threat to America as well as the free world. Trump finally realized you cannot be friends with the CCP. In the last year of his presidency, Trump was very tough on Beijing with trade wars and new sanctions. And that's it for today, my friends. Please like and share, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Check out these playlists right here for more eye-opening content. You can also follow me on Gab, Parler, and Telegram. Don't forget, please sign up to our email list so that we can stay in contact with each other. Thank you all, and I'll see you next time.